Hey everybody, welcome to a Humor Mill TV edition, a special edition I have just for you today. Today I have director Jeffrey Scott Collins, actor Graham Sibley from the new film. And in case you haven't seen it, I'm about to explain to you. It's a new film. It's on Comedy Dynamics Network. It's on all their platforms. The film is called Poor Greg Drowning. Now, I have the director, I have the actor of the film. Now, before I jump into my thoughts and everything else, Mr. Director, can you please explain to those out there what the film is about?
Yes, it is a grounded, edgy romantic comedy about a aspiring writer who's a love addict, and he goes to propose to his longtime girlfriend, and she admits she's cheating on him with their couples therapist. So they break up. He's devastated and heartbroken and desperately needs a new roommate because he can't afford the rent in the two-bedroom apartment they have. So he tries to find one, and this girl moves in off of Craigslist without meeting him, and he falls madly in love with her. And he's a love addict as well.
Right. Now, the funny thing about this is now since you just described the film, we have the actor who is the lead in the film. That's Graham. Graham, since you got the role in the film, when you got the role and you casted it, when you first read the script, can you please tell everybody out there what your thought process was when you even read it? Because when I saw the trailer, I was like, now this is funny. This is funny.
Oh, well, thanks, man. Yeah, it was kind of a backwards process of casting. Jeff had written a short film and decided to put me in that. And he wrote it kind of with me in mind, I think. And then when it came to putting together the whole feature, we already kind of had a team up and running, and just kind of kept going with it. But once I finally read that full script, I couldn't believe how many parallels there were in my own life that Jeff had sort of just by osmosis figured out. I think we've all gone through major breakups, and I've gone through a good number of them, and it really messes with you, So definitely captured that,
Yeah, it really does. So, Jeff, let me ask you: what is if I'm a normal guy who had never heard of the film and never know about your directing style, anything about that, and I'm coming into this to see this film, and I'm led to believe that this film is, a comedy film, but you know how people judge films on the style of the director is. What would be your style of directing that you would tell people to say, "Hey, I direct like this," and I direct like? What would that be?
So, it's a great question. I worked for 3 comedy directors that I assisted: Vic Levin on his feature 5 to 7, John Hamburg on his movie Why Him, and Luke Greenfield on Let's Be Cops. And I feel like the comedy is kind of a blend of all 3, and I've been a huge fan of theirs even before I worked for them. Vic is super smart and crisp with his dialogue that I've always been a huge fan of, drawn from that. Hamburg is the master at awkward comedy. He did Meet the Parents and I Love You, Man. And awkward comedy is my favorite. And then Luke is more of the edgier comedy. He did The Girl Next Door. So in terms of the comedy of it, I really drew from those 3. So if people like grounded, edgy, awkward comedy, this would definitely be for them.
So, Graham, being that he just described his comedy style and how he likes the film, how are you able to say, I know I could nail this film. I know I got it because my comedy temperament, my comedy style basically fits with the film of what me being able to be land for this lead actor. How that even come about?
Well, I think I've done a lot of improv, and I think Jeff really really nurtures that. So we would shoot the script, and then it would be like, well, let's just see what else we get. And then we would just keep going with that sort of process. And so, over time, we shot this over a good number of years, and we really developed a rhythm to how we could, to work and what the best way was to get the funniest stuff. So, I think that. Yeah, I mean, I love working with Jeff. It was great. I mean, he was so loose, It's just like, let's just try this, let's try that. Sometimes we'd have a setup, and oh, here's Margarita.
Hello.
Yeah, we'd have a setup and we would shoot that out, and then sometimes once that setup was up, we'd shoot for, I don't know, another 25 to 45 minutes on just like, try this, try that, try this, try that, try this, and then you just don't know what's going to happen. And Marguerite is just like, it's like working with. It's just so fun to play with her. So it was really a pure joy.
Well, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna off of what Graham said. They are brilliant at improv, and that's something I really learned from Hamburg was shoot as scripted. Apatow does this a lot too, and then just keep the camera rolling and try any and everything. And these two are, and most of the people are, all the people in the film are just masters at that. And one of my favorite movies or scenes in the movie is the two of them talking about a painting on a wall, and it was like all improv and just brilliant. So it was
right. Well, in case you guys are just joining us, Margarita and Solia, did I pronounce your last name right? I'm sorry if I didn't.
No, you did.
Oh, okay. She's just joining us right now. And Nate, first of all, thank you for joining us. And Nate, thank you for joining us this discussion about the film. Now, Margarita, I have to ask you, I didn't see any stand-up of you anywhere, so I'm assuming you're just an actress, you're not a stand-up comic. Am I correct? Am I saying that?
Yeah, no, I don't do stand-up. I haven't done stand-up. I'm an actor. I do a lot of improv. I did the UCB program. I did some second footy. I did some groundlings as well, but that's kind of like supplements my acting. So I'm having feedback. Are you guys as well?
I am not. Anybody else have feedback?
I'm hearing a little bit.
Okay. What I'll do is I'll mute somebody's mic. Okay. So I muted. So as I talk, I will go to you, Marguerite, and then Marguerite, I'm still asking you. So still with you. I want to ask you a question, Margaret. The question is going to be, being that you're not stand-up and everything else, how are you able to figure out what the comedy timing would be to be able to do this film? Margaret?
I'm muted. Oh, no. Okay. Comedy timing. I think it's kind of like I used to describe comedic timing as a language that you start kind of learning the language, and then it becomes part of your body, almost like dance or something. So especially working with Graham, it was like, whether we were improvising or we were doing, actually our lines, it's like things just land in the right spot. And if they didn't land in the right spot, you're actually tripping each other in that dance move, so you start kind of working it out. But the weird thing about Graham and I, and this doesn't always happen, is that we, day one, we were like, oh, hi, like, where have you been all my life? Like, let's play together forever. So, we would get to set, and and Jeffrey was just so incredible, and then Graham was incredible, and we all spoke the same language, which, I think would, comedic timing is kind of like a language like that.
Right. Graham, I have to ask you, it doesn't seem like you have any strength in stand-up. And I don't mean strength. I mean, you don't have any experience in stand-up, but you have a lot of experience in doing everything else related around comedy. I have to ask you, how did you even know that, I know I could nail this film. I know this film is for me. I know I could do it. And I don't know whether I have stand-up or not. How did you even know
I don't think I ever thought that. I think it's just, you just keep going as an actor. I think you just keep trying to find the truth to something. And when there's no, I think a lot of independent films, the pitfall to it is that you're on such a limited budget, which means you can't try anything. So there's this sort of anxiety that's always sort of brewing inside you as you start shooting these films, because you're like, I'm only going to get 2 takes. I'm only going to get 3 takes.
Right.
And per setup. And, you've got, 15 days to shoot the film. We shot this film over 5 years.
Wow, really? Okay.
Weekends to shoot 6-8 pages.
Right.
There sometimes you try to shoot, on an independent film, sometimes you're shooting 10 pages or plus, and And so it was more relaxed in that way, which I think freed us up to be kind of more of who we are. So like, I think my natural rhythm is pretty goofy and stupid. And I think a lot of people's are, but when you're relaxed in that environment, you can kind of like be free to be like, smell my fart. I'll smell yours.
Right.
There it is.
So kudos to you, Jeff. You finished the film. It took 5 years to do. I can only imagine what is the funniest stuff that didn't make the film. I'm sure there was a ton of stuff if you filmed it over 5 years.
Yeah, I mean, that's the hardest thing with cutting a comedy is you have to cut a lot of funny shit. And, we did a lot of test screenings, and a lot of the festivals we were playing with a rough cut trying different jokes. So the hardest part is just trying to figure out what's funny and also what's funny and moves the story along. And yeah, it did take 5 years, but I think ultimately we did days of pickups here and there of like small things, but ultimately, even though it was 5 years, it was 15 days of shooting. The film's pretty static, which I think lends well to the type of humor and the visually where Greg is in his life. A lot of times we just have cameras on sticks that allowed us, instead of trying to get fancy camera movements, we just focus on the improv and the characters.
Right.
And in terms of like, Margarita, as soon as I saw her reel, and the second Graham and I saw her self-tape, we were like, there it is. There's Kate. And we were looking for a while to find the right actress. And you just know when somebody has the comedic timing, especially the comedy you're looking for. So as soon as we saw that, and Margarita and I got a coffee, and I knew it then as well. And then Graham, we met on a film before I even saw his acting, and I thought he was hilarious. And just had that type of comedic timing and sarcasticness and stuff that was crucial for this film.
So Marguerite, what was your favorite scene in the film that didn't make it? Because I know you were along the ride for the entire time. What was your favorite scene that didn't make it? Because I don't want to ruin it for people who haven't seen the film and you say the scene and ruin it. You know what I mean? I'd like to talk about something that didn't make the film.
So there was a day where we shot a lot this day, and one of the scenes we did was this like love scene, and along with the love scene came, before the love scene is, I had to break down and cry, and then the same day we were also doing this love scene. You guys, am I right about that? We shot that in the same day, right?
That sounds right.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. In the love scene, and there's a bit of this that gets in the movie, but we had like a full on, so we're making out, we like move from this couch to the camera follows us into a bedroom. We get into the bedroom, and on our way, Graham and I, and we're like improvising.
Right.
We hit this dresser, and the dresser full on falls off the wall and falls onto me, onto the two of us on the bed. So you don't see like the carnage of what happened in reality. But I mean, we got enough of, we were like, please, did you get that? Did you get that in the movie? Because it's perfect. Like, we did our own stunt right now. But also I had a straight on like dent in my leg for like 3 months. That eventually like popped back out again. But yeah, so you don't see that there's actual impact that happened there.
I could only imagine.
There's a love scene and there's actual impact that happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
Actual innuendo.
That was a terrifying moment, but hilarious at the same time. And that was my room and my dresser, so it shows, the kind of paycheck you get from an independent film.
Right. I can only imagine. So Graham, could you tell everybody out there what was your favorite scene also that didn't make the film? And then I'm going to ask you guys your favorite scene. If you please not tell everything, but your favorite scene after that. So Graham, you're up.
My favorite scene that we didn't shoot or that didn't make the film.
Right.
God. I think that there was so much stuff that we shot when all the cast was there. There was at the beginning of the film, there's a long, I don't know how many page of monologue it is. It's like a 3-page monologue or something. Yeah. And at the end of the film, there was like a similar 3-page monologue that I spent like all this time, like, memorizing and doing. And like, it was kind of like to all the whole cast was there. And we were shooting at this house in Venice and we ended up doing it. And I don't think we did it that many times. I was like, wow, I think we got it.
Yeah. I think it's 3 or 4.
It took me a long time to like learn it and do it and get it right and everything. And then when that didn't make the film, it made total sense. We didn't need it. Mm-hmm. But it was pretty good. I mean, I have to say, like, I think in terms of what it was and how much work I put into it, I was like, man, I was pretty proud of that. I was pretty proud of that 3-page monologue that I memorized overnight.
And didn't do it. So
didn't make the film.
What was your favorite scene? Since you have the mic, what was your favorite scene? And please don't tell too much, but what you can say.
My favorite scene,
Mm-hmm.
I think my favorite scene was all of the stuff that Marguerite and I shot on the couch. We had such a good time, just playing with each other, and there was a couple different sequences that were on that couch. But it just felt like at that point in the shoot, like we'd known each other. We've riffed on enough of each other's bullshit. Mm-hmm. and that sequence is just really fun. Like, it's awkward, and then they have this like kiss, and then they have this, and then I like make out with her, and then there's a whole sequence where I make out with her not there. So I'm making out because she, not to give too much away, but I won't give it away. But that was my favorite sequence.
I appreciate not too much of that.
Yeah.
Jeff, I want to ask you a question too. It's like a couple of questions I want to ask you. But let me ask Margarita. What was your favorite scene? Then I'm gonna go to Jeff. What was your favorite scene, Margarita?
There are two, and I've been going back and forth, and I'm gonna say both of them. One is when I introduced this kind of jerky kind of guy to Graham as this guy that I'm going to go out with, and it was so awkward. That like interaction is awkward anyway as actors, but we were so inside of it as like bringing ourselves to it, that it just made it really, really awkward. And the actor who was playing this guy, you guys,
Andrew Dick.
Yeah,
I'm not hearing you.
Oh, am I muted?
No.
Andrew Dick.
Andrew, and the best part about Andrew was that I had asked in my own personal life as Margarita and Sully, I had asked Andrew out years before.
Ooh, I didn't know that.
Yes. And Andrew had turned me down. And he was like, no, I'm not interested. So he gets to set, and I'm like, I'm bringing how awkward this is.
Did he remember that?
What?
Did he remember that?
Oh, he remember. Like, we saw each other and we were like, "Hey, what's up?"
That's amazing.
And for whatever reason, he and I on commercial auditions were always, if we were at the same audition, the casting director always put us together as a couple, and I was always
I remember that. Yeah.
Be in a relationship.
That's so funny.
So anyway, that was a really fun one. And then I got to say that one of my favorite scenes was us in the kitchen, and I'm making this smoothie, and Graham has Greg has this complete meltdown, and we had to get that shot. I think we had to really get that shot like right away. So it was like, make sure that this explosion happens at the right time, and that was fun.
I can only imagine. Now, Jeff, this leads up to my question. Is I saw the film. I saw that you had Cedric the Entertainer and everything else in it, and it surprised me. I'll be honest with you, because personally, listen, I'm not a filmmaker and everything else. I think the film could have been great without the. I understand the process of having him narrate. What made you decide that, I'm going to have a narrator? It'd be Cedric the Entertainer. I'm going to have him be a narrator to move along the pace of the film. I know that was probably a decision you made. Probably, it seemed like to me, I don't want to assume, but it seemed like to me that you made that decision after to make the film move faster. Am I correct?
Yeah, it was definitely an evolution because that was initially going to. We always had ideas for these transitions to play throughout the film, but initially they were just going to be typewriter effect of something Greg is saying. And I think at one point we were like, maybe we tried that in test screenings and it just wasn't working. And then we thought of maybe Graham narrating them, but then my editor and I, we loved our animation of the credit sequence. And we were like, why don't we just carry that through and try to do animations in the transitions? And so we did, although my producer mind was like, I don't know how we're going to afford this, but we did. And our animator, Steven, is incredible. And then we were like, but we still need to have some kind of narration. And I immediately thought of Cedric because I worked with him on Why Him, John Hamburg's movie. And he's just the man. And as like the best narration voice ever. And he was immediately game, and he came in and we did a 2-hour ADR session, and he crushed it as always. But it wasn't until we were almost done with the festival route, a year of festivals, that we knew we wanted a narrator.
That's excellent. That's excellent. So Graham, I got to get ready to wrap this up because I try to do these too long. Graham, can you please tell everybody out there what you have coming up that we can look forward to? We already know this movie is called. We know what it's called. When are we going to see the film, Graham? I'm going to ask the director. I know he's going to create it. And what else can we see from you? When, where, what? And as much as you can give us, please tell us.
Yeah. So, our film Poor Greg Drowning is going to be available on it's available on all the platforms right now, but it'll stream on Amazon Prime on November 12th. So we're excited about that. And in terms of stuff that's coming out, like everything's out, man. I haven't worked all year. There's nothing going on. Like I had a couple films released this year, and I was nominated for a daytime Emmy for a show called
Congratulations, dude.
Yeah, which was really cool. And so, you know, that we're it's an anthology show. So that was a fun celebration that happened this year, but just hustling, man, you know, doing self-tapes and waiting to see what happens with this new world we're living in.
Brother, unfortunately, COVID got everybody in that same boat. Everybody in that same boat. Marguerite, can you please tell us how we can follow you? If you have any projects coming up that we can look forward to seeing you in, and everything else. And we know the film is coming out soon too, so we would expect to see you there. So what else you have coming up? If anything at all that you can talk about, that you say.
So you guys, you can follow me at Margarita and Sylvia on Instagram. And I have been on maternity leave for an entire year. So I have Poor Greg Drowning. It's this incredible film. And it's here now. But other than that, I'm about now. I reached out to my agents last week and said, hey guys, I'm like a human still. And it turns out I'm still a human and I'm like ready to act again. So we'll see. I know it's like a wild world. I kind of took the first half of COVID, at least. Let's say the end. I'll say all of COVID. And I'm just going to put out there that it's going to get normal soon. But, I've been on maternity leave, so it's kind of been perfect for me in a weird way.
Believe me, I understand. So Jeff, unfortunately, COVID has slowed down, I'm sure, the promotion process of this, but we will see this film on Comedy Dynamics and on Amazon. Are you doing a press screening, a red carpet of this or anything? And if you can, are we going to expect to see that? If you can?
Unfortunately, no kind of like carpet or anything as of now. I would still love to one day when we can. But no, in terms of the press, we're just kind of doing these Zoom type interviews, which would be great. And and it's as Graham said, coming out on Amazon Prime on November 12th, and it's on a bunch of other platforms now: iTunes, Google Play, Redbox, all that kind of jazz. And And they don't know that. I can't remember if I told them this, but I just met with a production company financier that loved the film and asked if we'd be interested in a sequel. So I have the.
You heard it here first, Frank.
I like it.
Exclusive.
I know everyone's focused on the election, but this is the real big news right now. So we'll see.
Well, I absolutely like it. Thank you all. If you're at home and you're watching this on TV, thank you all. You are watching the director and two actors from a film called Poor Greg Drowning. You have to see this film. If you guys don't see this film, you're going to be sitting in the living room talking about, hey, I heard about this, and you're not going to know what's going on. So you want to see the two actors. That's Graham, that's Margarita, that's the director, Jeffrey Scott Collins. Thank you all for joining us. We appreciate you. You all have a good day. You're watching Humor Mill TV. Take care. See you soon.
Thanks
very
Frank.
much.